And hello YouTube, GSmaniamsmart here. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the most recent community events that have happened, showcase a really awesome Guild Wars 2 inspired racing game that I really love. We're going to talk about ESL leaving Guild Wars 2, what this could mean for the future of PvP, what the future of World vs. World has in store for us, how everyone seems to have a big rant this week, and how ANet could possibly be lacking in communication a bit lately. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, have it up in the background, play some Guild Wars 2 while you listen to this, and let's have a chat. What's up everybody, GSmaniamsmart here. Today with another brand new video for Gaming with GS, and welcome to another video, glad to have you. If you happen to be new around here or to the channel, I also want to welcome you, and I suggest you subscribe to this channel because we have lots of Guild Wars 2 guides. We talk about Guild Wars 2 news, talk about Guild Wars 2 lore, patches, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're interested in Guild Wars 2 or gaming, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also click that post notification bell. It'll keep you up to date with all the most recent videos. So for some reason, people have decided to be extra salty this past week, and it could be for several reasons. Several reasons that I can understand a person may be annoyed or angry, but I still don't think it's the right way to go about it. Usually, every week or two, I go on Reddit, I categorize my Reddit threads by the top rated ones, and I, go through the past week's top rated threads to sort of figure out what's going on in the community because I can't log on every day to check. And the number of negative threads I see, the number of threads complaining about certain things has pretty much gone up, and for some reason it's this week. I don't know if it's because Super Adventure Box is in the game and a lot of veterans already completed all that, so what's left to do? Complain about the game. So yeah, anyway, Super Adventure Box is great. If you haven't played Super Adventure Box yet, play it. If you're a new player, you're missing out on such an amazing festival. It's really fun, and even myself, who's played it now for 2 years, is still not tired of it. I'm loving it. We just recently created some guides for Super Adventure Box. If you want to check those guides out, I'll leave a card on screen right now. But let's talk about some of these issues that some people are complaining about. Let's talk about some of these events that have happened over the course of the past week or so. And before we get into any of the bad news or people complaining news, I want to share with you something that Shaman has created. If you're unfamiliar, that Shaman is a Guild Wars 2 player that does a lot of data mining, has a lot of time on his hands, and creates a lot of creative content. And he has created a Super Mario racing style game, but in Guild Wars 2 form. It's called Super Charrio Kart, and it is really fun. I love the game. It's so cool. It really brings me back to the good old days of playing Super Mario Racing on the Game Boy. It's really fun. I highly recommend you to check it out. It's a fun play. I'll leave a link to this little mini game, or it's basically kind of like a full game. Not entirely though, but I'll leave a link to the game in the description down below. If you are having trouble playing it on Chrome, try to play it on Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge. It might work for you. I know that when I first tried playing it didn't work on Chrome, and ever since then I've been playing it on Internet Explorer just because I have it sitting on my hard drive, the program. So I've been playing it on there, but really fun game and very creative as well. So that came into the community, which I really enjoyed. But let's jump into some of the more serious content, or I wouldn't even say serious, but just some events that have happened over the course of the week. For one, ESL is leaving Guild Wars 2. A tweet made from ESL Guild Wars 2 says, "Sadly, ESL's GW2 section will be closed next week. We thank you for the last few years. Enjoy our last 2 cups." Now, a lot of people saw this coming. A lot of people said, "I told you so." A lot of people are just riding the bandwagon of saying PvP is completely dead now. ArenaNet is at fault for pushing esports too hard. And you know what? While I can see your point, I agree with you. I agree. ArenaNet has pushed esports a bit too much. Now, do I care about that? Am I going to sit here and complain about it? Is it affecting me? No, it's not. They can do what they want to do. If they want to push esports, that's fine. I don't need to participate in it. I don't need to care for it. I still enjoy Guild Wars 2. I still see them putting stuff into the game. I still see them putting content into the game. I still see them bug fixing, balancing the game. I still see all of that happening. So for me, I don't really care if ESL is part of Guild Wars 2 or not. Personally, I don't care for the esports that much, and I don't really care that much for esports Guild Wars 2. Heck, if you can find a single video where I talk about esports on this channel, then I'll eat my hat, because I don't think I've ever talked about esports on this channel regarding Guild Wars 2. But for some reason, some people love to complain and just bitch about so many things that's wrong with Guild Wars 2, and now that ESL's gone, PvP's gonna die, and PvP's already dead, and everyone's leaving the game, and I feel like that's just really over-exaggerated. If it comes to the point where ArenaNet is not putting any content into the game anymore, and ESL and esports had ever become the priority, and that's all we'd be seeing, then sure, I'd have a problem with that, and I'd be complaining just as much. But it's really been blown out of proportions for the past year or two, that everyone just wants to jump on the bandwagon of PvP as being the center of attention, esports is the center of attention, when we've gotten so much content into the game. Like, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting some of the things that we've gotten, and some of the great things that we've gotten for the past year or two. So, that's been in the news. People have been complaining about that. What's your opinion on it? Have you ever cared about esports? I really want to know, because I feel like there is a small portion of the community which really loves esport, and I'm glad. I'm glad that there's a small community in the game that can appreciate esports, you know? And maybe I'm not part of that demographic, but if I was into esports, I'd be glad and happy, you know? I'm not, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about it, because if I don't care about it, I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the game. So, let me know what you think. Did you ever care about esports? Are you surprised that ESL is leaving? Personally, I'm not really that surprised, because with the amount of negativity going around in PvP, with the amount of negativity towards the entire esports thing, and granted, ArenaNet hasn't really been the best in communicating, you know, where they're going with esports, where they're going with PvP. They haven't really made the best balanced patches to fix certain issues in PvP, but they're trying. And you know my theory, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know how I feel about ArenaNet. As long as they're trying, as long as they're putting content into the game and trying to fix things, I'm fine with it. There are plenty of other developers out there that completely ignore the community, don't make any fixes, and let you deal with it. I've been part of those communities, and I've left those communities. So, I feel like everyone just needs to calm down a bit and simmer down. ESL's gone. Okay. Maybe they'll focus more on PvE or World vs. World now. And speaking of World vs. World, as soon as the story about ESL dropping out comes out, everyone feels like they have to target World vs. World next. And people are saying, oh, World vs. World is still dead too. Now PvP's dead and World vs. World is dead. Quite frankly, I've played World vs. World. I've played PvP. I've had fun in both game modes. Now, certain players may not like the gameplay in World vs. World and how you play the game in World vs. World, and that's fine. That's not something that you can blame on ArenaNet. Some people may not like the competitive feel of PvP. Each game mode has its own feel, and those players who like it will enjoy it. I think the main problem with a lot of these game modes is that a lot of people love to be overly critical and you know, take it so seriously. When Guild Wars 2 first started, World vs. World and PvP were fun game modes. You know, they were just fun game modes that you wouldn't take too seriously. Now, yes, you could blame ArenaNet for making PvP so serious. And because they made it so serious and created esports and all that stuff, people are taking it serious. And when they find bugs, when they find things that are not balanced, when they find things that are messed up, when they find things to complain about, they're going to complain about it and seriously criticize it because ArenaNet is being serious about PvP. And I understand that connection. And that's fine. And like I said earlier in the video, I do think ArenaNet has not done that amazing of a job at balance patching and at communicating, you know, with the community recently. And, you know, I will agree with you on that. But at the same time, it's still a game, people. It's still just a video game. It's still just something we play to have fun with, and I do think the community needs to be a bit more nicer about things and provide suggestions and ideas rather than just sitting and complaining. Now, there are certain threads on Reddit, there are certain, you know, forum threads on the Guild Wars 2 forums, and certain tweets of people suggesting ideas, and that's great, and hopefully ANet listens to that. But I think the negativity towards World vs. World, the negativity towards PvP, is part of the reason why things aren't moving forward. And like I said, It's not just all the negativity. ArenaNet has a part in it too. But I feel like we could be, as a community, doing things better. Sadly, when someone does write something like I'm voicing right now, you see the upvote percentage is only 50%. It gets 62 upvotes. But oh no, as soon as someone complains and wants to, you know, raise hell, we gain threads that have 200 upvotes and nearly a 70% upvote. Let's just all be a bit more positive. That's what we gotta be. Be a bit more positive. Another big story we've had is that cured hardened leather squares were at over 1 gold. They were at over 1 gold today. And that is just insane. I cannot believe that a crafting material, a core crafting material that everyone needs is sitting at over 1 gold in value. And it's not ascended crafting materials, it's not legendary crafting materials, it's literally the same old crafting material that you can get from enemies by killing them, by salvaging, and just refining it into the square. Why on earth is something like that sitting at over 1 gold? That is absolutely insane. This leather situation, ArenaNet has tried to fix it, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But it's not the correct way to go about it. It just isn't the right way to go about it, because this is unacceptable. Seeing a core crafting material be at 1 gold, I mean, this is insane. Who has the money to buy that? And yes, you could be telling me, okay, well GS, then don't buy it, go craft it. Well, you're right, I would go craft it. But where are you gonna find hardened leather sections? Hardened leather sections are one of the most rarest pieces of leather that you're ever gonna find. It's the most rare tier of leather, which is why the prices are soaring high and they're continuously increasing because everyone needs them and there's really not a lot of places to get them. And once again, time and time again, I'll say this suggestion, and who knows would anybody will ever listen, but I feel like instead of introducing these dumb farms, and I like the farms, don't get me wrong, I love the farms, they're fun, but they are also dumb because they aren't helping the leather situation. Instead of introducing new farms, instead of introducing new ways to get leather, just change the way leather's being used. Change the amount of leather we need, or maybe bring in a huge resource for leather, like maybe leather nodes. People have been wanting leather nodes for so long, like leather racks. And you could have those, you know, in small little villages or settlements standing outside where you could just gather them. I mean, come on, that would be such a cool idea. If we could have leather rags sitting in Lake Doric next to some of the settlements or houses. That would be a great way to farm for leather. That would be a great way to, you know, just gather leather just like we'd be gathering vegetables, just like we'd be gathering the ore, just like, you know, and I guess that would work for silk scraps and linen scraps as well, even though the scraps aren't really that high in price because silk scraps are literally, you get that everywhere. But the same idea, we could have certain nodes in the world where we could gather. That would be a great way to fix this problem. You know, make enough of those nodes and that would be a great way, maybe. So the leather situation is still terrible, and it seems like it's getting more terrible as time passes. And this is just something that needs to be addressed and needs to be looked at more in detail, and some better decisions need to be made. And I guess the last piece of rant that I saw, which really struck me as, really, you just noticed this now? Some people are claiming that ArenaNet is doing terrible communication because they're not giving us a roadmap, they're not giving us what's coming next, they're not telling us what they're developing and all this stuff. And you know what? All I have to say to that is, it's not their fault. It's literally everyone else's fault. It's our fault. As a community, it's our fault. Because you know what happened? When ArenaNet wanted to give us a roadmap, when ArenaNet wanted to tell us what they're working on, when they wanted to give us more information on what they're going to try to release, what they're creating, what did we do? We thought it was going to come for real. Everyone was so hyped about it. And then when a problem came, when ArenaNet said, okay, we really tried to bring this out, we're sorry, what did we all do? We complained about it, we flamed about it, we raised our torches and pitchforks and just caused a huge dramatic rage scene because ArenaNet, quote-unquote, promised something, even though they could have just been, you know, showing us what they're trying to create, what they're working on, as a way to show the community, hey, we're still working in the background, here's our communication to you. But instead, we didn't take it with a grain of salt. We took it to the heart and said, this is coming into the game. If it doesn't come, we're gonna raise hell. And people raised hell. And once Mike O'Brien came as, you know, the head of ArenaNet after Colin Johansson left, things changed. He said, we're not gonna promise anything anymore. We're not gonna talk about anything anymore. We're not gonna tease anything anymore. We're not going to release or discuss anything with the community until we are sure, until we are certain that it's going to be released. Now, do I like that form of communication? No, I don't. I would rather have, you know, little sneak peeks and little dev updates telling us what they're working on. You know, I would like that because I'm not someone to raise hell when I realize they failed at something. You know, at least they tried to do it. That's the main reason why they're doing that, because they can't do it anymore. People take it too seriously. They don't want to make broken promises. They want to make sure that everyone knows what they show off is what is actually going to come into the game. And for that, I can give nothing but respect. That is what you have to do after you've tried to be nice, after you've tried to communicate and, you know, show off things. What's left to do? What's left to do is you'll have to just show off what you can, when you're sure it's going to come out. So for some of you who may be thinking, oh, ArenaNet has bad communication, they barely talk to us anymore. Well, that's a byproduct of how we reacted years ago. When things weren't coming out, we complained about it, we raised hell about it, and that's what's happening now. So, we gotta deal with it. Now, yes, I will agree with you, like I said before, I'll agree with you that certain aspects of communication are still lacking, such as, you know, now that ESL's gone, what's ANet gonna do? Still no one knows. We still have certain balance issues in PvP, no one knows what's gonna happen with that. We still have World vs. World sitting in the background. No one knows what's really going on with that. I mean, we see them trying to do things, but no one really knows what's happening. Everyone feels like it's dead. Heck, even myself, I feel like it's dead. And I'm someone who likes to be more optimistic, but even I myself think that it's basically dead. So, you know, like I said, there are things ANet needs to improve on. And if you look at communication that way, then I can agree with you. Communication on those fronts need to be better. But there are a lot of people saying that they have bad communication just because they're not giving us sneak peeks or they're not giving us information on what's coming next. You know, the game is dead, nothing is coming. Well, why? Because they tried to do it in the past and it didn't work out. So that's what I have to say about that. I enjoy playing PvP. I can see how some of the problems are prevalent and are present in the game, and you know, I know it can annoy some people, I know it can get some people mad, and there's this whole argument that the only reason everyone's complaining, the only reason everyone's ranting, the only reason everyone's creating a bunch of threads complaining like that is because they care about the game. And while I can see your point, I can see that you care about the game, so you feel like you have the right to complain about it. While I can see that you paid for the game and you have the right to complain about it and give your feedback, that's fine. But do it in a nice way, do it in a proper way, do it in a way that you're giving ideas, not just complaining, but you're also giving ideas. And some people have done that, and to those of you who have done that, good job. But there are still a lot of people who just sit there and complain, and that's not the way to go about it. So let me know what your thoughts are on everything that we've talked about today. If you have any opinions on anything, let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely be down there talking to you guys as usual, answering questions, having a little discussion. What is to come next for Guild Wars 2? We don't really know. What we do know is that episode 5 is coming soon. My guess is coming beginning of May. Whether that's true, we don't know. Right now we have Super Venture Box in-game. Enjoy that while you can. Enjoy it if you haven't completed it yet. And for those new players, don't let this discourage you. Don't let all these comments from people who are veteran players discourage you. Guild Wars 2 is a great game. You can have thousands of hours in this game. If you are a new player, you have tons to do. So don't let anyone discourage you and make you think this is a bad game or make you think that something's wrong, because there isn't. The thing is that for a lot of us veteran players, we've become overcritical of the game. We've played the game for a long time, we're seeing where things are wrong, and we're not seeing things progress fast enough. So I feel like that's where a lot of people have their issue with. If you have a different issue, let me know in the comments section. We'd love to know. And that's what I have to say about that. A wise saying once said, and I forgot where it comes from or who said it, and I forgot the exact wording of it, But the meaning behind the phrase was that a lot of people will talk about things and complain about them and will just, sit there and bicker and point fingers. And no one will ever come up with a solution. But a wise person not only complains and talks about it, but will also give some ideas and give some solutions. And that's what I feel like a lot of people need to do more. Less complaining, less arguing, less pointing fingers, and more cooperation and working together to come up with ideas and come up with suggestions. Now, I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. I have been wrong. I know a lot of you will disagree on some things I may say in this video. I know a lot of you may agree with a lot of things I say in this video. But that's the point of it. I want you to go down there in the comments section. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about our disagreements. Let's talk about our agreements. That's why I wanted to make this video, to talk about a game that we both love, that are passionate about, that we care about, that we have opinions on, and try to see, what's going on and talk about some of the things that are happening in the community here. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. Would really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 guides, plenty of other Guild Wars 2 patch summaries, Guild Wars 2 lore summaries, lots of Guild Wars 2 content on the channel. So if you enjoyed that, go ahead and leave a subscribe. Would really appreciate it. And if you want to check out another video that might interest you, go ahead and click the annotation here. If you want to check out my most recent video, go ahead and click the annotation here. And if you're interested in seeing my vlogging, tutorials, advice, or music channels, you can click the annotation here. And if you do want to be so kind and help out with $1 to our Patreon page, you can click the annotation here. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching as always. And this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.